But basically, everybody, welcome back to the channel. We got Economic Prepper here. He's joining us remotely. And I wanted to touch on a concerning topic that has been circulating a lot through the comments and in the emails. And it is revolving heavily around fixed income and ultimately a unique situation of a family feeling themselves forced into financing groceries at Walmart and carrying these debts on a credit card. And you know, it's not just them in particular; it's credit cards and debt and interest rates going up, and ultimately everything that's going on in the economy, which is why we have the economic prepper here. He's going to bring us his take on what he sees, what's going on, and some possible options out there that people may not even be aware of. So, how are you doing today?
What's going on?
Thank
Good to
you.
see you, Kev.
Thanks for joining. Yeah, oh yeah. Thanks for joining. Um, what do you think? Like I hear a lot, but at the end of the day, sure, I don't know if I could say it's bad. I don't know if I could say it's good. But what's
Yeah.
ironic is it almost feels like it's worldwide, not just here in the U.S.
Well, it's it. I think that over the last couple of, I don't want to say couple of years, maybe even the last decade, has definitely been more of a worldwide thing. And I think that, and the reason why I say that is because before 2008, I didn't really know much about the economy. I was too young to really care or have been really directly affected by it. But I would say back in 2008, it was like a global recession. It wasn't just here. And it affected me and my family to a point where we had to learn about the economy then. And go ahead.
That was actually one of the things that uh, resonates with me a lot with the people that I'm in communication with who are reaching out and asking for some help and some assistance is the
Hmm.
elderly.
Hmm.
Ultimately, nothing against them, but
Hmm.
ultimately having this financial disadvantage of lacking knowledge.
It's the elderly have two targets on their backs at least, or at least I would say they have two more targets on their back than other people have. And the reason I say that is most elderly, not everyone, most elderly are not working and they're relying on a fixed income. And so if it's like if your income is fixed, it's unchanged. And so if your economic demands change, but your income can't, then it's only so much you kind of you run out of moves on the chessboard. And it's like, all right, there's two sides to the equation. You can increase your income, you can increase your income or decrease your expenses, or you could do both. But if you can't increase your income, then you're limited to just trying to save money and reduce expenses, reduce overhead. So the problem is that's great if you're in a situation where you got a lot of flat or fat, you can cut the fat and you can cut back. But if you've been living frugally already, or you've already gone through the phase of cutting the fat, and now you're to a point where, hey, there's no more fat to cut. Now what do we do?
Yeah,
And
that's where
there's
we
still
are.
options. Hmm.
So
And there's
what?
still options, but it gets dicier, but action has to be taken.
And that's kind of where we are right now. Like it's almost as if the fat is you're gaining more fat at a faster rate than you can trim with inflation,
Hmm.
high prices, and
Hmm.
everything that's going on with the housing market, the jobs market, the auto industry. All these
Hmm.
bubbles are. I don't think they're going to pop. I think they're going to deflate. I've been saying this for a while. I think they're going to deflate, and I don't think they're just going to pop overnight. But
I gotta.
you know, huh?
Okay. I agree with you on that. I didn't want to interrupt your thought though.
Nah, but but getting into options. Some people, unfortunately, are relying on the option of a credit card. Like it's almost as if this is not
Man.
unanimous, but people are looking at using a credit card to
Hmm.
hold them over for what? This is not everybody, but these are certain circumstances. Like they're looking to use a credit card to hold them over to buy Halloween candy and Halloween costumes, to buy
Oh my
thanks to
God.
buy Thanksgiving dinner, to impress the family, to buy the Christmas presents and the Christmas gifts to give out to everybody. And they're gonna be financing this debt, which they don't realize they're gonna be financing this debt for a very long time at a much higher interest rate, only to go higher, which is the beauty of a credit card from the issuer, adjustable percentage rate. Is that right? And no,
Hmm.
annual APR. So the
Hmm.
APR, but it's not fixed.
I was gonna say it's still adjustable.
Right, but APR is annual percentage rate, but technically
Yeah,
it's adjustable. And as the
yeah.
Fed continues to raise the rates, the credit cards will
Hmm.
continue to increase how much interest they're charging you on the balances that you carry.
Hmm.
Crazy part about it is I've had some people, no fault of their own, they're just miseducated or undereducated, misinformed, which we see a lot of that
Hmm.
going on social
Oh
media.
yeah. Hmm.
Financially misinformed, and
Hmm.
they're telling me that um, all the things that they're potentially doing, planning on doing to get themselves in a better financial position by paying down certain debts or paying extra payments or whatever. Meanwhile,
Hmm.
they still carry credit card balances.
Uh, well, all right. Let me touch on a couple things because you hit on a lot of points. I don't want to miss anything. So let's talk briefly about the Halloween gifts, the Halloween candy, Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas gifts on a credit card. I mean, if you're in some dire straits and income is a problem or income vulnerability is potentially on the horizon for you, um, or whatever the case is, it's like none of that is a necessity. So sometimes I hate to say it, but some people need a wake up call to learn what's a necessity and what is just a want and is not needed. And so, I mean, I can understand financing necessities because you got to get through whatever you got to get through. And sometimes when your back is against the wall, that's the only thing you can really do. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I have a problem with financing, things that are not needed. Like I'm going to pay interest and make somebody else rich. Meanwhile, my family's struggling to pay for something we didn't even need. That doesn't make any sense. And that used to be me. So I can speak from firsthand experience. I used to, have all sorts of credit card debt, 20, $30,000 in credit card debt, going on a vacation and then coming back from the vacation. Months later, I'm paying interest on the vacation we took. Or how about months later, I'm paying interest on the dinner I have already eaten months back. So it's like this is so stupid, but it's hard to break habits sometimes. And sometimes people don't realize when they say, "Oh, I got to do," or when they think, and this also has a lot to do with self-talk. Like, what are you telling yourself in your head when you're not talking? Oh, well, I got to do this, or I got to do this, or this runs in the family, or it's like all these different self-talks that are not right, but they're subconsciously guiding the decisions that you're making that further digs the hole that you're in.
Perhaps maybe more people need the self talk of just the reminder that the rich people stay rich by living like they're broke, and the poor people stay poor by living like they're rich.
Correct. And that the poor people don't realize what the rich do. And so as the poor people are trying to emulate the rich, they're not even really emulating the truth
It's
of
actually
what the
interesting.
rich are.
It's
Mhm.
interesting that you say that because I think people get distracted. They
Oh
get
yeah.
they get distracted, so they may see rich
Hmm.
and see a very small portion of their life and
Bingo.
assume.
Yeah. Kind of like an iceberg.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. There's way more beneath the surface than is above the surface.
Yeah.
Or
And
kind
you.
of like some of the comments that I receive where people
Hmm.
analyze the background in my video to have
Hmm.
place judgment on me.
Unbelievable.
But the problem with that is if you're using that as a gauge, a barometer
Hmm.
for the rich, and you
Hmm.
don't see everything else that they're doing,
Yeah.
then you may look at it like, oh no, I need to be shopping at this Louis Vuitton store
Hmm.
because they are too.
Yeah, it's like, okay, do you realize that Kim Kardashian doesn't even buy most of the stuff or a lot of the stuff that she gets? It's like, and I'm not saying she doesn't buy anything, but it's like, look, you got to understand, like, what you see is not everything that's happening. Like, everything, in the media, there's so much of a show that's being put on. And the business behind the game is so much more than what people see. You see, a celebrity carrying a handbag, driving a car, wearing certain things. Who are you wearing? This is funny what they say on the red carpet. Who are you wearing? Right? Is what they say. And it's like half the time, the people who are wearing these things, whatever they may be, they were given to them. They're like, hey, the the manufacturer, the designer, the whoever, the brand, they want exposure. They want this influencer to wear this product so that it can be seen and so that they can basically get free advertising. In fact, half the time, a lot of these people wearing this stuff, they get the stuff for free and get paid to wear it because they're a walking billboard.
That's actually great.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, what?
mhm. And meanwhile, the average person who doesn't understand the game, they're financing, a Birkin bag or a Louis Vuitton bag or Chanel, you name it, whatever your favorite manufacturer is, they're financing it. And then you open their bag, there's no money in it except a nearly maxed out credit card, which was used to buy the bag. It's like, I mean, and I like nice things, don't get me wrong, but it's like, it's how did you get it, and like, what are you what are you sacrificing to get it, and is it worth it?
It's
Um,
crazy because the media pushes it. The media is going to push the content to absorb the viewer and
mhm,
ultimately convert them into a consumer, into a sale, and then perpetuate it by showing you the people out there killing it off of you with
mhm,
these red carpet events or whatever, and how much content is actually created to
mhm.
show people how to manage their money, show people how to make more money, like versus the content that's just created just to take their money.
Exactly. Well, the thing is if the companies were creating content like that, they would take a hit. So they're not going to do that, you know. And here's the funny thing, if you actually saw like a real rich person or a real wealthy person and they were driving a fancy car, it, this is what's so interesting. Some people will actually say, and I used to say this too. Some people will say, um, uh, basically you shouldn't drive a nice car. You should keep it bare bones. All you need is a basic A to B, whatever, right? But that doesn't apply to everyone. That doesn't apply to everyone. Not everyone has to do that. Like sometimes, and I used to do this frequently, I would look at people at a light or in a parking lot. You see the driver, is a nice car, you assume they're doing well. But that doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell you anything. They could be barely making their car payment. But at the same time, you can't look at everyone with a nice car and assume that they're barely getting by either. I mean, if,
I,
if
I, I
someone's
think
driving,
I think what's most important is to not focus on other people and or trying to judge them. Really, what
bingo.
especially today, moving forward, now needs to be the
Hmm.
time where you're saying to yourself, how do I increase my income? How do I increase my fixed income amount? Fixed is fixed. It's a set figure, but it doesn't have to just be whatever it is. It can change.
Hmm.
How
Hmm.
do I eliminate credit card debt? How do I build up a savings and safety net? How do I start doing the things that would put me in a position to even consider possibly driving whatever vehicle it may be, or shopping at whatever store it may be? Whatever you
Yeah.
do after that, that's on you. But to hear people looking at trying to survive and get by just by relying on a credit card, carrying these balances, and pretending to themselves that they're actually making some kind of progress is ridiculous. It's asinine. And I
Yeah.
know that you have some great content that I'm going to share in a link in the description of some great side hustle ideas, which more and more people are asking about. More and more people are asking
Appreciate
about. The interest is there. I'm going to share it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. most of y'all probably ain't gonna take action. Most of y'all just gonna watch it and move on and complain that you can't do it or whatever. I actually had somebody complain and saying that, I didn't provide any groundbreaking secrets in my
Wow.
membership. And it's like, well, one, if you think that groundbreaking secrets can be explained in like one video, you you're too far gone. And two, if you don't really understand what I'm saying, which is creating the building blocks and understanding how, then you literally you just want somebody to give it to you. You just want somebody to hand it to you. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put the link below because it's a great video with a ton of information that more and more people are asking about. But I will say this for the people listening, watching, that you have to take action.
Oh, absolutely. No matter what. I mean, you want to build your income, you're going to need cash or you're going to need sweat. You know, it's going to be one or the other or both. And a lot of people aren't willing to give up either one. And they'll blame all sorts of external circumstances, but they won't look at themselves at what can I sacrifice today for a better tomorrow.
Let's just wrap this up real quick. Give me your opinion. This is not financial advice, but just give me your opinion. Top two, uh, side hustle, income producing opportunities that come to mind with cash involved, and top two with sweat involved.
Ooh, top two with cash involved. I would say with cash involved, actually, let me start with sweat involved. You don't have any cash. So without cash, what would I do today? Um, I would look at what have I done in terms of work? What kind of skills do I have right now? And think to myself, what kind of service can I offer? Because service-based businesses, those are some of the fastest business types that can be profitable immediately because it's not based on purchasing some amount of inventory and then so that requires an initial investment and then you're trying to hopefully sell this inventory off at a profit. So with that kind of business, you're in the red right out the gate. Even if you didn't borrow the money, you're in the red because you invested in it. Service-based business, it's like, look, hey, I can go out and I can wash someone's car. I can go out and cut someone's grass. I can go out and clean someone's house. I can go out and um, you know do someone's hair. Like there's so many different things. There's so many different services. Like I could probably come up with, if I had enough time, I could probably come up with over 100 service-based businesses that you could start with no money out of pocket, like zero,
Well, then,
nothing.
well, then that knocks out the two. Then that knocks out the two for sweat. And the other thing about sweat is sweat doesn't have to be super hard work, super sweaty. Sweat literally
Hmm.
just means you're putting in your time, and
Hmm.
this time could be the same time that you're using and or wasting away,
Hmm. Hmm.
doing so many different random frivolous things that will get you nowhere, put you nowhere, make no advancement, just further keep you where you are, or maybe even push you back. So sweat doesn't
Absolutely.
always mean super hard work. Sweat just means
No.
maybe, you know, um, telling your friends you're not going to come hang out with them, or friends you're not going to come hang out with them, or staying up a little later to get some work done on a computer because it's going to pay you dividends down the road. Um, so,
Man,
so if we want to go into, let's make it
can I
quick.
can I add to that real quick?
What you got?
You can take your time and go learn a skill, and there's so many different skills that can be learned online. You touched on it just now. There's so many different skills that can be learned online, and then you can just offer that service for other people once you've learned it. There's platforms like Fiverr and Upwork. You can literally learn some basic skills and then go on these platforms, create an account for free and offer the service to other people. You can also, you can actually go on these platforms, figure out what services are offered, and offer them to other people who don't even know that they exist, and you
Right.
make a profit of the difference.
Yeah, from the Fiverr folks.
Hmm.
I actually had somebody comment on a video. I think I might have sent you the screenshot, and somebody said he's reading a script, and it was like, what does it matter? But at the same time, uh, a script is important. It's critical, especially for me,
Hmm.
because I want to make sure I
Hmm.
don't miss any of the important information that I have so much running through my brain. It's like,
Yeah.
but I don't want to miss anything. So from time to time, I
Mm-hmm.
have a script or I have bullet points or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you think I'm
Mm-hmm.
reading the script right now, then you guys are crazy. But
Can, can,
yeah,
can I ask you a question?
what's up?
If you got on a plane, I mean, and actually, you were just recently on a plane. If if you were on a plane and the 200-point checklist that a pilot needs to look through and check off before takeoff isn't fully analyzed and evaluated before he takes off, like your life is at risk. So is he less of a pilot because he looked at
His
his
notes.
bullet point of
Yeah.
you know? Like,
All right.
are
Look.
you
Hey.
serious?
Hey. But the beauty of it is if that were the case, well, guess what? Script writing is a great side hustle that will require no cash to start. It's pure
That's
sweat.
another one.
It's pure sweat.
Mhm,
And when I say
mhm,
if you're physically sweating writing scripts,
mhm.
we got another issue at hand. But it's just me explaining how sweat, the definition of sweat in comparison to cash. You go out there, you can do that. You can literally just get on your phone, get on your computer, and start writing. Like it's literally anybody, almost anybody can do it. I think, even if you can't type, you could probably still do it with speech to text.
Dude, a wise man once told me you got three assets, right? Well, there's three assets to building wealth, and whatever you have the most of, you use that to get the others, right? You got time, you got money, and you got skill. So whatever you have the most of, you use that to get the others, and you build wealth off that.
I would
And
say that
no matter who you are, you've got one of those.
I would say that most people that are watching this content looking for a solution have an abundance of the time
Hmm.
and probably skill coming in close second. They just don't realize
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
They don't realize it.
Yeah.
So, number one, just give me one. If you want to put cash in, opportunity that you think maybe this is not financial advice.
Um, Most people would probably think stock market or real estate, and those would be the things that I would probably choose last. So the first thing I would think to myself is, what can I flip? What can I flip with my cash that will give me the highest rate of return? Um, I used to I actually used to flip books. A lot of people don't know that, but I used to flip books on Amazon. And actually that was one of my first e-commerce related businesses. It was really more of a test just to learn how to use the platform. So I was like, you know what? Hey, what can I sell that I can get fairly inexpensively just to learn how to use the platform and then figure out what are other products that I could sell on Amazon's platform for a profit. And a lot of people don't realize that when you buy something on Amazon, more than half of the time, not even half the time, more than half the time, you can look at Amazon's annual stock reports that they release. I think it's a 10K. On the 10K, it shows that like it's like something like 60 or 70% of the sales that come from Amazon are actually from third party sellers, and Amazon's a multi-billion dollar company. So I was like, well, how do I get a piece of this? Well, one of the things I started off doing was I was like, well, let me see what I can sell around my house. So I started with that, and I started with old electronics, but then I went to books, and I realized, wow, there's a lot of markup here. And then I also thought to myself, wow, books are seasonal for college students, for example, right? And college books are expensive. A lot of times, the same books are used year after year, or maybe there's a version change, but it's like the versions aren't drastic enough that you can't use a previous version. So I listed some of them and made thousands of dollars selling books. And then I found ways of identifying all sorts of ways to go to these cheap book sales, buying books for like 50 cents, selling them for $35. I mean, do that a few times a month, put a smile on your face.
So you actually sparked some more ideas, but we got to go. I don't want this
Okay.
to run on too long because if anybody knows us, they know that this will last forever.
Oh, easy.
It's just never ending. But I want to talk about these opportunities that exist, similar to flipping books
Hmm.
on Amazon uh, at a relatively low cost. Because I actually came across an opportunity to flip products on Etsy.
Oh, yeah.
Flip products on Etsy And the beauty of it was you could create the listings without ever having actually bought the products. So you see which listings perform before you invest in
Brilliant. That's almost like drop shipping.
them. Number two is actually, I got a lot of questions asking me about Amazon FBA selling on Amazon. We actually met somebody the other day. He said he was talking to an author who wrote a book who listed it on Amazon. He's trying to get people to buy it. And creating products and selling products on Amazon is not easy, but it can be done. There are some tools out there that could be used to help you identify your audience, your market, the product viability, which you have already experienced. You've done this for years with varying degrees of success. But
Mhm.
also, a key one is what is called low content books.
Oh man. Oh yeah. So low content books. Uh, Personally, I've never made a low content book before, but I do know people who have. And this is so brilliant. It's like we were dealing with supply chain constraints for years, the last 3 years or so, right? And when you create a low content book or any kind of digital product, because that's what it is, it's like you've eliminated any supply constraint. There's that is no longer a part of the conversation when you do that. So that's number one, passive income, unlimited inventory, and it's like work once, earn forever.
Yeah, a lot of things that I know we're going to get a lot of comments on. If you guys are still with us to this point, comment down below on what interests you so that we can make sure to incorporate this in upcoming future videos, whether it be a collaboration like this or individually on each channel. Again, Economic Prepper, thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for your
Thanks
info
for having me.
and your intel, the boots on the ground intel. And again, links will be in the description for everybody to click on, and make sure you go check out his channel. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.